let's talk about predictions and trends. It's going to be a bad year. Done. Now we want to break into some real interesting stats as it comes forward. I just want to focus on the highlighted ones, but there's some other good ones here for you to use later on or for your own edification. 57% of data breaches could have been prevented by installing an available patch. That's bad. I mean, bad that we didn't do it. And so going forward, we think that's going to hold true, right? Because we didn't do it last year, it means we're probably not going to do it this year. I hope that's wrong. I would love for that stat to drop significantly, down to 0, please, but not likely. And then when we look about insider cyber threats have jumped 40% in the past 4 years. Why? Well, because the attacks are getting more sophisticated, and let's be honest, some of our folks are angry at us. Doesn't happen as much in public safety. We rarely see somebody intentionally hacking ourselves or giving up their credentials, but unintentionally, yeah, just like everywhere else, we see it, and we're a primary target. 82% of breaches included cloud-based data. So I once talked to a CISO from a state. We were in a deep conversation about cybersecurity, et cetera, and he said, quote unquote, I've got it handled. I said, well, can you share? He goes, yeah, moving everything to the cloud. I'm like, well, is there anybody else I can talk to? Why? Because the cloud is the internet, and the cloud just means a server somewhere else. You got to look at it that way. So how are we protecting that? Well, you don't know. We should know. We got to ask those questions.
Right.
So really important.
Yeah, and if you have ownership of your cloud environment, for example, if you're spinning up resources in AWS or Azure, then that means the work is on you. So you have to make sure you're setting up those security groups. You have to make sure you have the IAM set up if you use AWS.
Because they don't do it by default.
Nope.
You got to turn it on. And so ask those questions to your vendors as well. All right, going into predictions. Growing importance of IoT security. Why? Because there's 70 billion devices with an IP address on the planet right now and only 7 billion people. That means there's 10 devices for every man, woman, and child. That's a lot of devices. And when we consider a significant portion of those, maybe as high as 15%, are hacked or pre-hacked or came hacked, we have bad numbers. And we're seeing an increased focus on AI being used against us, as well as companies like ours using it for us. Yeah, we're seeing on both sides of those equations. We're seeing more and more sophisticated evolution of phishing attacks, sometimes including AI, hunting our social media to find out all about us so they know what passwords to use or things to guess. Increase in OT attacks, this is ever increasing and will continue to do so. And we also have to look at our legacy systems. Is it really, are we doing what we should do to get those offline and removed from the network? Moving to zero trust, yes, we need to do this, and we're seeing more of it, but we still have a long way to go. Cybersecurity insurance becoming mainstream. This is true, but we have to be careful. They're building a lot of caveats in there so they don't have to pay. Why? Because they're insurance companies. They don't want to pay. So we have to make sure, and make sure that they're not just going to pay the ransom. That's not a good answer.
Also note that if you are, sometimes they have restrictive clauses and they're saying you must use this XYZ company for cybersecurity. So just understand what you're signing up for.
Right, and is that company even CJIS cleared? I mean, we need to understand those kind of things. Compliance will be a major factor, absolutely, especially as we see things like TikTok being banned or the underlying organization ByteDance in 30 states. So understanding is really important. And increase in zero-day vulnerabilities and attacks therein, of course, we're going to see that